It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast featuring what's going on in Grinnell. This time around, we'll be talking with the founder of American Braun and also the Solace Center in Grinnell, Kent Reed. American Braun is a great organization that helps first responders and, of course, veterans who are dealing with PTSD. And the Solace Center also helps veterans, too. Kent Reed, a wonderful person who I met many years ago at the radio station in Newton. He's a big-hearted guy, and we talked to him about a year ago, wanted to get an update on what was going on with American Braun and the Solace Center, and I think you'll find his story about how he got into these organizations and got them started very interesting, and what they're doing these days, very fascinating. And maybe at the end of it, you'll want to help out with the organizations, or maybe talk to somebody who might be able to use the help of these organizations also, because they are great nonprofits that not only help the Grinnell area, but can help areas all over the country, all over the world, too, as far as helping first responders and helping veterans who might have problems with PTSD. First of all, a word from our sponsors, including our presenting sponsor, Grinnell State Bank. They have convenient online and mobile banking available. Check out all their options and make banking fit into your life. If you're not a customer yet, get started and open your accounts in just 15 minutes. If you're not sure what you need, check out Simply Banking and open your accounts online or in person at any of their 4 locations, which not only include Grinnell, but also Johnston, Marengo, and Polk City at Grinnell State Bank. Also want to thank the folks at Saints Rest Coffee House in downtown Grinnell. Stop on in and see our new mayor, Sam Cox. She's always good for some conversation. Of course, if you have any concerns about the city, I'm sure Sam will be glad to talk to you about that too. And on their Facebook page, they talk about what a fun evening with the sweet stroll that happened last weekend. She says, if you stop by, thank you for supporting local downtown shops. And on her Facebook page, you can see the winners of their drawings too. They gave away a Valentine bouquet to Libby and a Valentine to go with love to Spencer and Maya too at Saints Rest Coffee House in downtown Grinnell. Another great downtown Grinnell location is B. Nicole Salon, which is right next to the Chamber of Commerce. And Brandy at B. Nicole Salon says, it looks like the warm weather is here to stay. I hope you're right about that, Brandy. We're seeing 50-degree temperatures this week, and next week 60-degree temperatures. But you know how Mother Nature can be. They say if you don't like the weather in Iowa, wait 5 minutes, it'll change. So I'm a little nervous about that. But I hope you're right, Brandy. Anyway, she says, stop on into the salon and get a new summer haircut, wax, wash, or style, and make sure to check out their chalkboards for all the new specials. And this week, they're still honoring the Heroes of the Armed Forces Day, which is May 17th. All military and veterans show valid ID for $5 off at B. Nicole Salon in downtown Grinnell. It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and I'm here with, I guess I can call this guy a friend, because we've known each other for a few years now when he'd come over to the radio station and talk about American Braun, and now he's got the Solace Center, and he's just a big-hearted guy that wants to help people out, and his name is Kent Reed. And before we talk about the organizations that he's involved in, I want him to tell his story, which I've heard a few times, but maybe you, the listener, have not heard the story about how he decided to get American Braun and the Solace Center started. So Kent, speak up nice and loud into the microphone and tell us about your story and what made you decide to get these nonprofits going.
I sure will, but first I'll say I'm certain we can define each other as friends, Jamie, because I think along the way we've done favors for one another.
You betcha.
So if you've traded favors, I think that kind of makes you friends.
There you go.
I appreciate our relationship. Yeah, my name is Kent Reed, and I grew up on the east side of Des Moines, and with a family that did fun stuff. We went camping all the time. We got to ride motorcycles. So for my entire life, I started at 6 years old on a mini bike, and then as I got older, I got bigger motorcycles. My parents, with their brothers and sisters, and my sister and I, we happened to be the only young ones, had the Family Affair Cycle Riders, where we rode motorcycles cross country down into Mexico and everywhere else.
Wow.
Well, in 2016, June 2nd, I was riding a motorcycle with my 19-year-old daughter riding with me, and we were just going for a little stroll out in the country for the evening. And I was looking to the west into the setting sun and waiting to take a left-hand turn across traffic. And a car came and went past, and I went to go behind them, and there was a car in the other lane I hadn't seen. My first blessing of this whole ordeal was that I did see them at the last second, and I was able to swerve, so we did a hard side swipe instead of them just T-boning us and taking us out. And it knocked us both off the motorcycle. My daughter got some road abrasion on her cheek and on the back of her hand. She was taken to the hospital just for precautionary measures and check her out. But I got 3 skull fractures and a brain bleed, a real bad laceration on the back of my head, and was taken to the hospital by the Altoona EMT, and I went to Mercy Hospital. That ER, between the EMTs and the ER, I am certain saved my life. Because I was bleeding so much, they stopped the bleeding. They got me to the ER. In the ER, I had a seizure. My parents had got there at the time and have told me that was the worst thing you could ever do in life, is see your own child in a seizure in the hospital. And that led to me being comatose. They put me in a self-induced coma for about a day and a half to let my brain kind of settle down. But I came out of that. I was in the ICU for 8 days. I went up to the cardiac floor for a day because I was having heart problems had developed. And after 8 days, I was able to go home.
Amazing.
Amazing. I went home with a walker because I had a lot of vertigo and just unstable walking, even though all that was hurt was my head and brain. And I started a recuperation process. I was home off of work for 6 months because I had had the seizure. I couldn't drive. And that time while I was off of work, my mind is always going and thinking. And when I'm not able to do the things I'm thinking of, my brain gears spin even more. And I had decided I wanted to do something to pay back what the first responders had done for me and what I knew veterans have always done for us in making this United States of ours a free world and an easy living, comfortable world to be in. And what I decided to do to pay that back and to pay forward the saved life that I have been given and the rest of my life that God gave me to live was to start American Braun and to work to save lives among our veterans and first responders by trying to prevent suicide and also supporting other things that we can to help save lives. And in the since 2018, so the 8 years since I started it, we have raised over $90,000 that we've donated to first responder departments around the state of Iowa, into Nebraska and Missouri, for them to buy life-saving equipment, which means there's almost $100,000 worth of equipment out there every day and night, likely saving lives, and we don't even know it. But man, does it feel good in my heart.
That is just great. And I've seen some of that stuff. I think one day you came over to the studio and there was this dummy that you had bought for the Newton Fire Department so that they could practice. Maybe you could tell us about that, Ken.
At that time, I had gotten a $15,000 grant from 100 plus people who care Grinnell, and I was going out to first responder departments asking them what they need.
Right.
And I got all the way from several of them needed AED units replenished or renewed, but the Newton Fire Department wanted a new training dummy that they use to carry around. And you can buy training dummies in different weights, from kids up to adults to big adults. So they needed a 175-pound training dummy. And we got that for them. They received it. I went over to visit them and take pictures like I often do. And the chief calls back to the station and said, "Hey guys, bring Larry up." And we meet them outside, and here comes Larry on a rolling furniture dolly with the corded rope in the front of it, slumped over and his legs dragging behind him. They use that guy to train with, to throw him over the shoulder, to drag him out, whatever they have to do.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, you bought a bunch of equipment for the different first responders and things like that too. And I got to say, even through COVID,
Yeah.
you persevered. And I remember you doing a fundraiser during COVID, and I was just very impressed by all that, Ken. I mean, you just really have a passion for this organization.
Yeah, and I've done it all to have fun, and somehow it turns into fun for me. What we did there was I invited organizations who we had donated to, and it was the Grinnell Police Department, the Grinnell Fire Department. There was a third entity I can't think, but the Grinnell Police Department brought some ballistic shields that we had donated. 2 of those at about $3,000 a piece for a tactical group that's between Poweshiek County, Grinnell City, and Jasper County, I believe. So the chief of police brought a ballistic shield. The chief of the fire department here in Grinnell brought a little cutter that we bought for them. It's a handheld, battery-powered kind of a snipping thing that cuts a hole in safety glass instead of having to break it through to the victim in a car accident or whatever. And in my garage, my double-car garage, we set up a Facebook Live event and had them all come through one at a time and talk to us about it. With that, I did an auction on our Facebook page to auction off items, and I think that year my average fundraiser has been about $3,000.
Well, that's great.
And I don't think we fell but a couple $100 short of that during COVID. So yeah, you're right. That was a challenge, but fun.
Do you remember some of the other equipment that you purchased through American Braun for some of the other first responders and fire departments, things like that?
You bet. I went clear over to Glenwood, Iowa, close to Council Bluffs.
Sure, down in southwest Iowa.
Yep, they were the first ones out of this area that found me on Facebook and then went to my website, and we've had a grant application on there for them to get. And they purchased, I think it's called like an arrow splint system or something, where the simplest one is a sleeve that you slip over a broken arm, and then they inflate that, and it holds that secure in place until they get you to the hospital for the surgeon to take care of it.
Okay.
They have a full body one that they lay on a gurney, put a person in it, and it doesn't fully uncover them. It's not a sleeve, but it comes up around their sides and up between their legs to secure a person with a broken hip or something like that. So I went over there to see that, for them to demonstrate that for me and take pictures. And as you can imagine, these departments all are looking for grants all the time.
Sure.
So for somebody like us to openly offer $1,000 to $3,000, oh man, they're so appreciative to get it. Other things, AEDs, through the time
Sure.
we probably bought 4 or 5 AED units, and I found the hookup there is to buy it through the American Red Cross. It's usually 15% less than through a normal outlet, and it's pretty dependable delivery as well. So that has worked good as well.
What a great organization. And then somewhere along the line, you came up with the idea for the Solace Center. Tell us about that.
You bet. So on the veteran side of my providing life-saving or suicide prevention materials, I started out the first few years going to large groups. I put on my own statewide bags tournament where we had 4 different locations that I put on tournaments, and then did a state championship at Prairie Meadows Racetrack and Casino, and just to get the word out about us and to hand out suicide prevention materials.
Sure.
I went to Iowa Speedway 2 different times and set up a booth, and one time had our state championship there for people to come, and we bought tickets for them to the races and handed out lots of material there. I partnered with the VA for them to have a benefits associate to help veterans get the benefits that they have coming to them and hand out material as well. And I decided that was all well and good, but although I could talk to them in the booths, I didn't get to associate with the veterans who I was helping.
Okay.
So that, and to just stop myself from being away from home quite so much, I started the Solace Center here in Grinnell. I met a guy in Cedar Rapids who was a 28-year Army veteran, had retired a couple years earlier, and started an organization that I patterned after. His is called the CAV, Community of Artists and Veterans. I went and visited him, so I set up here in Grinnell. I found a spot at the top of the Masonic Lodge with huge open windows to provide excellent lighting for kind of an art studio, and set that up for that. It is a space every Thursday night from 6 to 8 p.m. where anyone that comes to the top of those stairs is welcome. I promote it to veterans and first responders, but I always say anybody who wants to come up is welcome. And I promote it now as the easiest way to reach out for anyone in the greater Grinnell area. If they're a veteran with serious PTSD, if they're an older veteran who we have that's just home alone, not doing much of a week, to come and have people to talk to. If it's folks who maybe have learning disabilities, they're the family of veterans and need something to do on a weekly basis. All those kind of people are who are coming to our facility once a week. We have painting materials and canvases and supplies they do. We have colored pencils and adult coloring books, if you will, is a very popular one for folks to just sit there and color. And for the most part, the time they're spending painting, coloring, visiting, they're not thinking about those things that creep into their mind of a morning when they wake up or at the evening when they're sitting around home. So the Solace Center has worked very good for that, and we just we're happy with the dozen or so people that come pretty regularly, but I know there's lots of other folks in the greater Grinnell area that could use just somebody to talk to, just somebody to play checkers with for a couple hours a week. And that's where I'm at now and what we're doing.
It's like a mental health break. And, I mean, we've talked about this extensively too, Kent, but suicide among veterans is a real problem in our country, isn't it?
It is. It's the number for many years has been about 20 veterans a day in their lives by suicide. About 19 of those are veterans who are out of the service. One or two of them is an active military person. So everybody has their own story of why they decide their life isn't worth living. It's said often that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Exactly.
I always hear that and think most of these people are going to call BS if you tell them what they're dealing with is temporary, because they might see no end to it. But yeah, it's just terrible. And the thing that drives my passion most to keep this going is knowing the veterans who have spent months at a time, years at a time, away from their family, away from their safe home in the United States, overseas, for the sake of protecting us. For them to come home right away, or sometimes 30 years later, out of guilt that they made it home and their associates didn't, decide to take their life after all they've done for us, just tears me up inside.
Well, I don't know if you've heard of April Conway or not. She is Simon Conway's wife. She's producer of his show. And of course, I work at WHO Radio. And they call her the spokesmom for the Blue Star Moms. And they help active military people, and they put together goodie bags and send out Christmas cards to active military and that kind of thing. And her son actually got out of the service and really couldn't deal with life as a civilian. And so he re-enlisted. And got back in because he was not used to civilian life, didn't like civilian life. He just wanted to be in the service because it's a whole different ball of wax.
Oh, yeah. And at that point, it's what he knows. It's what he's trained for. It's what he does. So I'll bet there are surely numbers, statistics to tell us how many guys who return and become career military personnel because that's where their comfort level is.
Yeah, that's where they are.
And they take that with whatever risks there are.
Right. Well, I mean, these are a couple great organizations. If people want to help out with this financially or whatever else, maybe buying some equipment or whatever the case might be, Kent, how can they do that?
Well, we have a great website. I'll proudly say it's AmericanBraun.us. Braun is spelled B-R-A-W-N. And on there, on the first page, nearly every page, you'll find a place to donate. You'll find a place how to volunteer with us. But most importantly, contact me. I'm the number. I'm the website email address that they'll get to. And I will most likely ask where they're at and try to help them volunteer where they're at. I'm not so concerned that the help I gather comes to help me. I just want them to help others somewhere. And so AmericanBraun.us is the best way. A phone number they could contact me at is 641-821-5134. That is a cell number, so they can text me there. That's 641-821-5134. And I still have a day job that I work, but I'm pretty good at keeping my phone silent and looking me beside my computer monitor so I can pick up a call here or there or return promptly to let folks how they can feel the reward that I feel being able to help others in their community.
Well, that is wonderful. Now, if somebody wants to mail you an old school check,
Absolutely.
Is your mailing address on that website also?
It sure is.
Okay.
It sure is. And you'll see that it's a Grinnell address. So I would get that. I would get that right away, and I can promise it'd go straight into our account and buy life-saving equipment for someone. Or my costs haven't been a whole lot, but supplies for our Solace Center. We need some acrylic paints now and some new paintbrushes and things like that. So it's pretty easy to spend a $100 bill here or there, but paint goes quite a ways for folks that are using smaller brushes.
Well, bless you for helping these people out and being so thoughtful and turning your personal story that could have been an even worse tragedy, Kent, into something that is positive for other people and trying to help them out. You are a big-hearted guy, Kent, and
Thank you.
I just give you all kinds of props. And I want to encourage people who might be listening, because you never know about somebody else's story and what they might be going through. If they're having PTSD problems, contact Kent at the contact information he just gave out.
Absolutely. And the most important thing we can wrap up with, Jamie, is the 3-digit number that anyone can call for help. It is 988. It's there used to be a regular 10-digit number for the suicide helpline. This rolls to that same number. If you call 988, they'll pick up, and if veterans dial 1, they will get a veteran-specific counselor. But don't think it has to be a dire emergency. That's what we all think for 911. Same way, you don't have to be bleeding to death to be able to call 911. You don't have to be at your wit's end to call 988. You only need someone to talk to help you through this moment, or to help you decide if you have PTSD or a mental instability that you could use help on.
Now, let's get back to American Braun here just for a second, because podcasts go worldwide, all over the place, and I never know who's listening when. I mean, I can see the stats and see, how many people are listening on a specific day and that kind of stuff. But, you're trying to help supply first responders and fire departments with equipment and things like that. If somebody that is a first responder or with a fire department or something like that are looking for some equipment and maybe some help through American Braun, how can they contact you? Through website again?
Through my website again. And I will tell you, honestly, I had gotten a pretty constant flow of requests for grants.
Okay.
And fortunately, they were at a pace that I could keep up with them. But as I've slowed my pace a little bit, I've known I'm not going to be raising as much money. So I've shut that grant page off on my website. But if they contact me, I'm going to try to help them find funding. There's different ways to do it.
Sure.
I do still hold a fundraiser each year. I did recently send a $1,000 check to the fire department in, it's near Council Bluffs also, Carter Lake, Iowa.
Okay, sure, right next to Council Bluffs.
And an uncle of mine used to live there. They got a hold of me, and we provided them funding for them to buy. They were buying new fire uniforms for their firefighters, and they were, I don't know, several $1,000s per uniform. And they were happy to take another $1,000 check towards their needs. So, yeah.
Well, that goes to the old cliche of there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Absolutely.
All due respect to cats.
Absolutely.
I'm a cat daddy.
Yeah,
so,
you are.
But no, that's great, because you'll do everything you can to find the right resources to help these people out.
You bet.
Well, Ken, thanks again for talking with us today. It's been a while since we've caught up with you, and we wanted to give you guys a plug because what you do is just absolutely wonderful, and we want to support it 100%.
And maybe it's catching somewhere else.
Yes.
For someone else to start it in their neck of the woods.
Well, and awesome. That would be nice, because a lot of these, the charity that, and I've told you about the charity that myself and Jim Koloff started.
Yes.
That idea came from Dallas, Texas, and a DJ
Yeah.
down there. And
Gotcha.
I know that the Solace Center came from another
Yeah.
idea that
Yeah.
you got from somebody else. And as you say, if somebody else can take this idea
You
that
bet.
you have and then spin it on and help more people out, hey, it's all about God's love. You know,
Absolutely,
let's spread peace and love throughout the world.
Absolutely.
Our interview guest has been Kent Reed, who's with American Braun and the Solace Center in Grinnell. And give us that website one more time if people want more information.
AmericanBraun.us.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Out and About with Jamie Grout. Don't forget to check out the video shortcast. And you can also catch that on my YouTube channel. And don't forget about the website, which is outandaboutwithjamiegrout.com. All these podcasts can be found on Spotify, on the Amazon podcasts, and of course on iHeart podcasts. Till next time, talk to you later. Until next time, Grout is out. See ya.